Greetings and welcome back to another Distro Wars here on Switch2Linux. And today we're going to have a look at ArcoLinux versus EndeavourOS. I do want to look at AnarchyLinux as well soon. I just, today was a weird busy day and I didn't have a chance to look at it last night. So maybe next week we can look at AnarchyLinux compared to something else. I don't know. Guys, let me know. What's AnarchyLinux close to? But anyway, let's dive on into our comments, see who is online for now. And we will get ready to get set up and going. Shadow, back on Arch. All these scripts failed. Did it by hand and it's working. Note the folding at home service can keep your box from booting if using OpenCL, OpenCI. Or is it CL? Whatever. I have to delay start somehow, I guess. Oh no. Moonbase Alpha Grays, greetings. How's the Moonbase doing? Down here, man, it's getting interesting. Just stay up there. Just stay up there. Stay on the Moonbase. I'm asking for an extraction bed pretty soon. So anyway, Shadow tried Endeavor. Got to admit it's very good. Yes, indeed it is. Joseph, Manjaro is no more. No. I need to look at what was going on. So apparently the Manjaro base, they waited too long to have a stable. To really do a new stable release, which you can't do that in Arch, people. What was going on? You can't do that in Arch. And I do not want to hear, it was all due to COVID. Shut up. But yeah, that's interesting. So now you're just on pure Arch. Yeah, I don't see a problem necessarily with pure Arch. I've been running my Arch labs for 18 months now. Very few problems. Minimal problems. And like almost all of them were last week when I needed to run Zoom on top of a few other things for a group. And there was some conflicts running Zoom and WaterFox with the new YouTube. Something like that. So, anyway, Kitty Cam looks okay. All right. After uninstalling Manjaro, about 12 hours later, they finally came out with a release. Greetings. Is it HR? What's HR? Janet. Hi, Jan. Greetings. Liv Kush Kumar, greetings. Are you from New York City? Is New York City Chad still a thing? Are they still rioting and protesting down there? Or, I mean, I just can't tell if the news media is just sick of reporting about it or if it vanished. I don't know. Let me know. Manjaro looked very unpolished and clunky, so he took off. That's interesting because Manjaro is always one of the most beautiful Linux distributions. Maybe I'll have to spin it up and see what's going on over there. Standard Arch runs Plasma better than Manjaro anyway. There you go. Test Anarchy versus Zen installer. Kitty, can I write something down here? Let me do Zen installer. I haven't looked at either of those, so that would be a distro wars with two distros I haven't looked at, or at least two installers I haven't looked at. All right. Let's have Plasma on Arch. Tried that with Cinnamon, but slowed down the login. Kitty, don't throw my monitor off the desk. I will not be happy with you if you throw my monitor off my desk. Okay, Kitty? Yeah, chill. Chill, cat, chill. You'll send the extraction team tonight. I have a lizard people extraction team coming. We will let the Grays know if we need some help, but yeah, indeed. I have a few more things I need to work on. Kitty's got me back a little bit right now. He's already had to use his laser I-beams a few times. I mean, it's getting weird out here, so, you know. Let's see. I've been running Manjaro's testing branch for about a year now, very close to Arch. Base recently been looking into switch to Arco or Endeavor. It depends if you want to learn a little bit more, have a lot more customization. You'll see in this video we want to go with Arco in that case. If you want to just get something up and running quick, you want to go with Endeavor. So I'll actually take a stance at the end of this one. Let's see. Greetings. Is that a friend from Russia? Is that from? Or it does look like Russian script to me, but I could be incorrect about that. So educate me on that. Thank you. Nate, how's it going there? Actually, I just got yours. Schultz and Schönberg. How's it going? Hi. KO2610, your number has come. How's it going there? Here equals Mr. in German. Okay, thank you. Abbreviate it because it gives Angie a phone so much trouble. Okay, yeah. I did not know that. Thank you. You'll dual boot Arch with Linux Mint 20 anyway. I just run Mint on this one and Arch on that one. Serge, greetings. Anyway, at the moment, Eric is trying Gentoo. All right, Gentoo. Hello from Brazil. Greetings, Brazil. How's it going there? All right. We do have to wrap up pretty hard about 3, and so we're going to jump on in, and then we will hang out until about 3. But right about 3, I need to jump off. So that's going to be the schedule for about the next, I don't know, 6 months or so, maybe more, maybe less, but we'll see. But I am loving this 2 o'clock live stream because I can get all my video stuff done, and then I'm done with everything YouTube related. I can do my day job in the next shift, and then, oh man, it's so much nicer. It's nicer when I don't have to think about it once it's already done for the day. That's good. Anyway, heard a lot of people's systems crashing. On which system? Manjaro, I guess. I've heard Manjaro's been having a few issues lately, so definitely interesting. Let me boot on over to that, make sure our websites are all set. Hey, Kitty, you're going to have to go down now. Unfortunately, it sucks, buddy. It really sucks, but I need you to go down onto the floor for a little bit, and then you can come back up for the after show. Then we'll feed you kitty treats. There you gotta go. Just lay right there, and I'll call you when you're ready to come out. All right. Oh, man, I'm going to have cat hair all over the place. Oh, I don't want that in my edited video, so. Woo! Man. And it's getting hot out, so the cat's like shedding all over the place again. I pulled off an amount of cat fur this big off of the cat last week. It was insane. All right, let's go ahead and dive into this. Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Today on DistroWars, we're going to have a look at ArcoLinux versus EndeavourOS. 2 Arch installers with 2 completely different purposes. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you what the installation process is going to look like, but we're not actually going to install for the interest of time. I have an ArcoLinux and an EndeavourOS built up already. We're going to show you those look like after we have walked through the websites and the basic setup information. So first, let's go ahead and have a look at each of their websites. So ArcoLinux specifically is an Arch Linux installer of various levels, and their ultimate goal is to teach you how to install Arch, use, and manage and maintain Linux, which is an amazing and lofty goal. And they have a series of distributions. They'll have the B, they'll have the D. And these are just different types of builds, different systems already built out inside of it. And the goal is to walk you through step for step how you're going to set everything up and basically going to teach you all of the options. So you can see here we have 4 options on their site. To use the ArcoLinux D ISO to choose the desktop in Calamaris. Option 2, ArcoLinux D ISO, install the desktop using various scripts that you can get from GitHub. Or you can do the ArcoLinux B, and this is going to allow you to do a lot more customization, or install the desktop using the tweak tool. So there are a lot of options in here. Now, my biggest criticism of ArcoLinux is they have a lot of information, and some of it's spread across a couple of different websites, and it's so easy to get lost, and I've actually found some of the documentation is not particularly complete. And that is kind of problematic because when you are using, for example, ArcoLinux D, and I wanted to set both of these up using the Budgie desktop, and when you install your system, it does not actually install a window manager at the end. And so you install it, but it never configures it. So whatever window manager you installed in your setup process, you have to manually configure this in the final step. It's like everything else you're running scripts for, why not run a script for that? So once you get into it the first time, you're going to boot into a login prompt. You're going to have to log in with the user you created, sudo system control enable, and then your manager, whether you're doing light DM or GDM, or there's 4 of them you can pick from. You just need to enable that, and then it works just fine. It's just there's that one missing step, and I can't find the documentation on it anywhere. Even today, going back, I forgot exactly which step it was. I had to go back into my old videos about how to install ArcoLinux to remember how to do that. That's kind of problematic. Nevertheless, they do have a lot of information. They do a lofty goal of helping you learn how to install Linux. And for that, it is certainly to be praised. And also, if you're going to want an easy to install Arch that you have full control over the system, ArcoLinux is definitely the best option. You can choose whether it's going to install SSH or print services or network services or anything like this, or you can take them off, you can turn them on, whatever it happens to be. Now, the second one is EndeavourOS. This is for a person who wants to have an easy to run and manage Arch system without having to do a lot of crazy steps. This is for the person that needs to run Linux. They need to run a bleeding edge Linux, but they're not the least bit interested in all of the ins and outs of learning how to get everything to work and learning how to manage everything from the outset. And there's valid arguments for both of those people. Obviously, if you got the time, definitely going through ArcoLinux and learning all about the Arch Linux install is definitely a very good and very recommended option. But for those of you that are like, okay, I need to run an Arch-based Linux and I need to get it up and running quickly, Endeavour is going to be your choice. Of all of the Arch installers, we've looked at Arco, we've looked at Endeavour, I've looked at Arch Labs. I thought there was another one we looked at as well. Endeavour is hands down the easiest one to do. You don't have quite as much customization, although you can choose your desktop environment on the installation process. So with that, let's go ahead and walk through what the installers are going to look like. And we're going to go ahead and boot this guy up looking at our, let's go ahead and have a look at our ArcoLinux. Yeah, we'll do ArcoLinux first. So let's boot into ArcoLinux and see what that's going to look like. Come on, come on, come on. Boot, boot, boot. Boot, ArcoLinux, boot. All right, so here we are. As soon as you boot up as soon as you go ahead and boot up your ArcoLinux in the either in your machine, or in this case, we're using a virtual machine, you boot right on into this screen here. We can run gparted. You can update the Arch Linux mirrors. You can run Calamares. Now, you will want to run update the Arch Linux mirrors if you are installing this on a system. I did that this morning when I built the system. I'm going to show you guys what it is. For the purpose of brevity here, we're going to skip that step and just go right on into run Calamares. You do not need to run gparted unless you are specifically doing something very custom. Now you can see here on Calamares, you can see the wide variety of things we're going to be doing here, and that is what you're going to have to walk through here. So over here, you have AMD Ucode, Intel Ucode, CUDA Toolkit, NVIDIA's. You have Zen Linux kernel without NVIDIA, Linux hardened without NVIDIA, LTS kernel without NVIDIA, or Linux kernel without NVIDIA. So choose which Linux kernel you would like to use. All right, and then you need to enable, do you want to set up and support and enable Bluetooth support, laptop support, which is going to give you TLP. So for you guys wanting that, so here's your Bluetooth features as well. You have network discovery, so you have a variety of networking tools. Let's go ahead and set that. Printing support. So if you want to run a printer, go ahead and do that. If printing is not something you do from your computer, you can skip it and save yourself some room. Here's Samba, and of course, some sound. Oh, Pulse Audio. Do we have to? All right, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, so now you can choose your login manager. All right, so I did say window manager earlier, didn't I? Login manager. So here we have LightDM, SDDM, GDM, LXDM, whichever one. I personally prefer LightDM. I haven't had any issues with anything else. Many of them like GNOME, GNOME DM, which I think is kind of ugly, but I like LightDM. We'll just go ahead and go with that. So you have a variety of desktop environments to choose from. Like I said, our build here runs Budgie. You can go down and see what it's going to install. You can see Budgie comes with GNOME as a dependency, and so you are getting that as well. They do have a variety of other options here as well. So pretty much any desktop that you want. You do have deepen options as well. A few other items there as well. All right, communication software. So these are kind of your more trendy, more normie type communication tools. We have Zoom, Skype, we have Slack, Riot, Discord, TeamViewer. We'll just go ahead and skip those. Development tools, pick your development tools. Let's go ahead and go with LeafPad. Make sure you have a good text editor there. And then here is, you can choose your various Office tools, AbiWord, Calibri. There's Focusrite. Here's LibreOffice. Of course, you can do still or fresh. Still is more for the business end that it's not going to roll as much. Fresh, you're going to have a lot more of your newer options. And then down here under your multimedia, you have a variety of different things. So you have OBS, LMMS with Rhythmbox, Spotify, VLC. Just kind of pick the things that you might want to run. Let's do that, and we'll go with Lollipop. Why not? As far as internet, we have Brave, we have Chromium, we have Dropbox, Evolution, FileZilla, Firefox. We have a Firefox with an AdBlock Plus. We have a Nextcloud client. We have Thunderbird, Tor browser launcher. So many different options here. We'll just go with our Firefox and my Chromium, other ones I usually run. Here's a variety of theming options if you want to change around theming. And then graphics. One of the things that's curious to me is they don't have GIMP on the graphics. And I didn't see it in the list. I'm kind of looking for it now because I didn't see it earlier, but oh well. Here's games. You can choose whatever games you want. Any terminals, we'll go with console. And file managers. I hate files that comes with Budgie, so we'll go with Nemo. It still will use files, but I can change it over to Nemo if I want. And over here, we have a variety of different tools. Hey, look at that. Google Earth Pro, YouTube DL. We have Sigil, Putty, BleachBit, just a variety of tools. And then under our accessories, we have fonts. You might want to do a lot of fonts, particularly if you're doing graphics type stuff. There's Arco Meta Fun, password managers. We have KeePass XC on there. We have a Bitwarden on there. Tor browsers, Tor, PrivacyOx. Just a lot of different options that we have. So you can kind of see that with ArcoLinux, you have a variety of different tools. Over here, we have Discord, Simple Screen Recorder, Thunar. And then now, once we've walked through all that, we're pretty much walking through the basics. We're going through, we're going to pick our locations, we're going to pick our keyboard, our partitions, and then we're going to go through the installation process. Now, we're not actually going to look at the installation here. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to boot into the system after I've installed it. Pretty much exactly the way I just showed you on that is how we're installing it. So we'll come down back and show you what it's going to look like once it is installed. All right, so here we are. We've landed on the desktop here. So I did have to go in after the installation, log in the first time, sudo system control, enable lightdm, and then it's going to default to your Budgie desktop. We do have GNOME as well available to boot into because that is a dependent of Budgie. So go ahead and enter my super secret password. That's definitely not 123, and we will go ahead and log on into our system and show you what it looks like. I logged into this and I did not do anything else. So we'll get a chance to see what this kind of looks like right out of the box. We can change our desktop background here. Theming overall, Budgie theming isn't bad pretty much any time. We'll go ahead and poke around and see if there's any other theming we can do. You can see a variety of, not a lot of desktops, but just enough, I guess. Just enough to be fun. Let's go with, let's see what that one looks like. Let's go with that desktop for now. All right, so inside here, this is pretty much exactly the same way I had set it up here. We have our Audacities, there's books, Budgie desktop settings. We'll have a look at that just to have a brief look at it. But for the most part, we're going to see exactly what we told it to install. I don't have GIMP because for some reason it's not in the the initial setup. I don't know why. We should just install it with Pac-Man though, so no big deal. There's our Thunderbird, Firefox, Chromium. Here's our LibreOffice. Programming stuff. We just have boxes in there. I went with Lollipop, VLC. Here's your system tools. Let's go ahead and have a look at the ArcoLinux tweak tool, because this is probably something that we're not going to see inside of EndeavourOS. This is going to be one of the things that's going to set it aside, and I forgot exactly what it does. So we'll go ahead and poke around and look at it together. So here we have content of the auto start. So if you wanted to add anything to the auto start, you could do that. Here is your desktop installer. Okay, if you want to install more desktops, you can go ahead and install more desktops. It'll tell you if the desktop is not installed. So let's go over here. You can see it says this desktop is installed. So if you want to install another desktop, you can do that. And then you can select to clear cache before reinstall. So you can go ahead and install or reinstall it. So you can choose and install extra desktops very easily from the GUI. Here's some themes. Let's see, Grub themes. All right. Not sure what that one's exactly doing, but oh well, we'll let that one be. So here's the ad blocker, so HBlock ad blocker. So go ahead and enable that guy there. And my guess is that's going to adjust some things to your hosts file. That's usually how the Linux ad blockers work. Of course, I will note here once again that if you are enabling DNS over HTTPS and the Firefox that Mozilla tries to force down your throat, a ad blocker that is based on your host file will no longer work. That is one of the reasons I do not support that system. Here's your auto login. You can set your auto logins, and then you can set your desktop settings here if you want to enable auto login to your setting. We have NeoFetch Editor. All right, so we have a variety of different things. Show disk, show users. We have Pac-Man configurations. You can enable your test repos. You can see the ones that are enabled. We can add custom repositories as well. Here's termite themes, theme switcher. If you are using i3 or Awesome, you can do that. And ZHS if you're using that. So that is actually a very nice tweak tool that we're not going to get inside of our other systems as well. Let's go ahead and have a look at our Budgie settings. I just want to have a brief look at what our options are as far as our themes are concerned. So here we have all of our basic general Budgie themes, which I think are nice, particularly since I'm not a huge fan of the more material design, but they actually are pretty nice when we're talking about material design themes. Not my favorite, but if I did have to go with material design, I do think that Budgie does it some of the better ones out there. There we are, notification positions. We have dark themes, built-in themes. So there we have it. Overall, system does work pretty nice. Let's go ahead and see what options we have as far as installing software. We might be stuck with, it looks like this one here, we have the GNOME Software Center, so that's good. Let's look up, for example, let's see if we can find, Brave's not in there. So I'm wondering if this is just giving me the applications that are installed. We might have to go ahead and refresh this. Let's have a look at our software repositories. Okay, so this is actually FlatHub is the only thing that is enabled right now. So I'd have to add the repositories for this, but it is actually, it's pulling in Flatpaks is what it's pulling in. So, okay, if you want Flatpaks, I guess if you want anything else software related, you're probably going to have to install it with Pac-Man in the terminal. So that may or may not be your options, but that's kind of what we get. All right, so there is ArcoLinux. Let's go ahead next and have a look at our EndeavourOS. All right, we're going to stop and have a brief look at comments. Let's see. Okay, new Manjaro stable update was rushed. Belarus, it's near Russia. Love your videos. Well, thank you, man. Thanks for coming along. Oh, was I right, though? It is Russian script, at least. Okay, highly recommend Manjaro's testing branch. No more waiting for updates that much. Kitty should be set on a low-carb diet. Well, Kitty is protesting being set down because Kitty dropped the stink bomb. I'm not on the comments. Sorry about that. There we are. Back to comments. Too many people were complaining about the devs were in a panic mode and rushed the update out. Running Endeavor as your daily driver for half a year. It's been fantastic. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Less people will be using Manjaro now. That's not good. Manjaro's not bad. Which update crisis of the many have they had this time? Running Arch on 5.4. Fed up with Arch. No problem. Come to Gen 2. There you go. Or you can go to the Ubuntu base. Hey, man, we went with Arch to avoid that debate today. Come on. Kitty's down here. He's like, yeah, how'd you like that? Hello, Robin. Greetings to you. All right, let's see. EndeavourOS is really closest thing you'll get to Vanilla Arch. Very nice. Don't search Debian seduction of DuckDuckGo. Safe search off. Couldn't get the concern with Manjaro. I think they were just waiting too long to push an update out. And in Arch, you don't generally want to do that. It tends to lead to broken things. Okay. People wanted to update so bad, then just switch to testing or unstable. Yeah, I guess some people tried that. It didn't work out as well. I don't know. I haven't run Manjaro for quite a while, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on. The text, the governor is having news conference about C19 at 2:30. He'll be leaving then. All right, man. Well, we'll hopefully you're still here. If not, have a good conference. Let me know the insanity that is ensuing there. In our local town, they're trying to want to implement actual punitive misdemeanor charges for people not wearing a kufi catcher. About that point in time, I will abandon the county. There's a great advantage to being a minimalist and you know, not caring about material possessions. I could jump out west pretty quick if I needed to. Messed up Zen installer completely. All right. Yeah, I'll see if I can look at least one of them for next week. I'm not sure if I'll do Zen versus Anarchy next week, but I'll try and at least include one of them in the mix. Just kind of going to depend on what's going on. Yeah, ArcoLinux does seem detailed. Yeah, it is designed to teach you. And so that's its point. That's its purpose. So my apologies if I miss your comments there. We only have half hour left. So please put live in the title that we know to watch immediately and not queue. Okay, I will do that in the future if I remember. Yeah, so I'll have the updated link out, the updated version, the edited version out later on tonight. Okay, one thing I like about Endeavor is the online installer. Just installs vanilla desktops. All right, we're going to go ahead and get ourselves set up. I'm going to leave a spot for our comments, and then we will go ahead and jump on over. So let's see. All right, good enough. Let's go ahead and boot this guy up. All right, so now we're going to boot up EndeavourOS, and we're going to have a look at what that installation looks like. So this one, as we said, is a lot faster, a lot easier. It's not as custom of a system, and it is going to get you an Arch system without you having to know a whole lot about what's going on or following all of the scripts and online tutorials and such. Gray screen of death. All right, so we've landed on the desktop here, and we have, I think it's XFCE. Yeah, it looks like XFCE. And so we land on the desktop here, and we just have the option and start the installer to install it to the list. You have update the app. You can update the mirrors. So there's a lot of different things you can do inside of here. We'll just go ahead and click the installer. Now you have an online and an offline. So your offline is going to install it based upon your download right here. You're going to get the XFCE desktop. So pretty much the installation of what we have here. If you do the online method, you will have your desktop with vanilla theming and the internet connection is required. We are going to want to follow that process there. So you can kind of see it's going to start doing a bunch of stuff in the background. We have a Calamaris installer like we had in ArcoLinux. So go ahead and say American English. We're going to go next. New York, next, next. This one here, I might kill my disk here, but that's okay. I actually borrowed a VM that I didn't specifically need, just in case I had to do something. So here we can choose to erase the disk, have no swap, swap with hibernation, or swap with no hibernation. So you can see it's going to format my disk. And now we're going to choose which desktop we want. So in this case here, I went with there. I think I left the base common development up there as well, which is going to give us pretty much the full Arch system. So I'm going to leave that one selected. And then I also went with Budgie, which is going to give us the exact same thing as we had in the previous set. Going through here, you can enter in your name and your password, and then when you click next, you're going to get a summary, and then you're going to go through and watch the installation process. That's the part that is fairly consistent. So what we're going to do, though, is we're going to log into a desktop here that I've already installed this, and we'll have a look at what it looks like from there. All right, so here we are. We have landed on our login manager here. We're going to go ahead and enter my super secret password. That's still definitely not 123. You see we have, again, the options Budgie, No, and the various gnomes. So we're going to log into Budgie and hopefully see the same experience. Now, this one here, I've actually have been working around with this one a little bit, so it's maybe not be exactly the way it was installed, but it should be pretty close. I did add a few extra packages, and one of the things I'm doing on this system here is I'm poking around with the next release candidate for LibreOffice 7. So there's a few things on here that are going to be kind of related to that. Now, the thing that you have on EndeavourOS that you don't have in ArcoLinux or other Linux is in the welcome screen. You have a few options that I highlighted this in the recent video in more detail. I'll go ahead and just mention them briefly here, and I'll link to that video. We have the package cleanup configuration. This is going to clear out old package caches, which is actually a kind of an important thing to do. And you can set how frequently it cleans up and how many package versions to keep. So this is very good if you're needing to roll packages back or things like that. So that's an option that we have inside of Endeavour. The next thing that they have is they do have the application, which is AKM, which is the Arch Kernel Manager. So in this case here, I have installed the Arch Kernel Manager. It does not come pre-installed. You have to install it under the Add More Apps under the Welcome screen. And when you install this, then you're going to have the ability to add and remove various Linux kernels. Again, I cover this in more detail in the other video. The last thing is the Personal Commands tab, so you can add other tools. You might add cleanup scripts, other tools. You can add those to the welcome screen. So if there's some type of task you need to do, once a week or something, you can just go ahead and put it as a simple button on your screen. In this case, we have one that's going to launch the kernel manager. We have one that simply launches the text editor, and we have one that launches Firefox. These are all for testing purposes. So those are some of the things that you get inside of EndeavourOS. Other than that, though, it's pretty much is going to be a stock software. We do have, I think there's actually do have tools in here that are not Flatpaks. I don't know for sure, but let's go ahead and have a look. So here we are, simple screen recorder. So this is coming from our repositories. So our EndeavourOS does actually have our repositories already set up and configured. Not sure if we have Flatpaks on this or not. Here's a thought. Why don't we, instead of searching for something, let's just look at, no, not update repositories. Let's view the repositories. All right, so we have the community repositories, core, EndeavourOS, extras. We do have FlatHub enabled here as well, multilib. So that's kind of, we do have a lot of your repositories already set up and configured. So we do have a GUI software manager. Like I said, because Endeavour is really designed to be an Arch system that's pretty close to ready to use out of the box. We're not going to have a whole lot of other options and settings. Again, we do have various theming settings that we can do. The theming is going to be pretty much the same because that's fairly consistent with your Budgie application. A lot of these come with it. You can add extra cursors. You can see that there's a lot more icons on ArcoLinux because we installed more versus other things. Out of the box, though, each of them are going to work pretty much the same once we get to this point. Your critical differences here is that you saw in the installer that EndeavourOS does not give you a lot of specific options. So your print servers are going to be set up. Your network servers are going to be set up. So if you need something more custom, you're going to want to run ArcoLinux to control those in fine detail. EndeavourOS, its task is to get you an easy-to-install Arch system that's ready to go. And if you use the offline version, you can even choose your desktop environment. We don't have a good GUI tool in here that's going to give you the easy ability to install the other desktop environments that I know of. But you can, of course, do that through Pacman in the terminal. If you're using Arch, you're going to need to use the terminal sometime soon anyway, so you may as well get used to it. Most of the other applications are going to be pretty much the same. We did have just a basic suite of applications, which were the common ones we might find. I did install a few other things. I think I did need to install LibreOffice on it, and I think I installed a couple other tools on here as well. So let's just go ahead and see if there's anything else here that's, there's parental controls, that's nice. And that's pretty much about it. So you can see that these two installers serve very different purposes. They are both excellent installers to get Arch on your system. So it boils down to this. If you want to learn more about Arch, you definitely want to use ArcoLinux. If you need to control the individual packages on your Linux system, you need to use ArcoLinux. Those are going to have a lot more control. It is a little bit more difficult to set up. Don't forget that command to enable your login manager because for some reason it seems to be missing from the documentation, and it's not something that is quite as easy to do if you do not know what you're doing with it. Nevertheless, it's one line of code. It's not a big deal. Just figure it out. Sudo system control enable your window manager. Light DM, GDM, whatever. All right. Now, if you're needing an Arch system and you just need to get up and running quickly without spending a lot of extra time and what all is installed on the system is not necessarily of a consequence, EndeavourOS is absolutely the faster, the quicker option. It installs faster. It has few options to think about. It's going to land you on a very well configured desktop out of the box without any extra hassle. Now, is either one of those definitely better than the other? No, it completely depends on your application. If your application is to learn Linux, go with Arco. If your application is to use Linux for a real project and you need the bleeding edge, you definitely want to go with EndeavourOS. So there's your basic comparison between these two. Both excellent systems. I'd recommend both of them for sure. And that's kind of our thoughts. So let me know your thoughts on these two distributions in the comments down below. All right, let's go ahead and shut this guy down. Hopefully I didn't miss anything critical. If I did, go ahead and yell at me now. Before it's too late. Before it's too late. Hey, kitty, you want to come up? Come on, kitty. It's time for you to come up. Because we're in the after show, buddy. We're in the after show. Yes, we're in the after show. Alright, let's see. Where's the kitty cam? There we are. We got a kitty. We got a kitty cam. Right, kitty. Alright. Okay. Please don't moon me. Alright, let's see. Using Ubuntu's Yarrow theme and Windows 10 icons on your XFCE. Is that legal? Is that illegal too? Of course. Absolutely. Okay. XFCE is meant to look rubbish in Arch. This way you can customize it to your taste. There you go. Incentive to customize, right? Okay. How about Ubuntu, which is meant to be a complete setup for newbie users? Yeah, there you go. All right, clearly neither of you have seen a fresh OpenBox or Xmon install. You know. GNOME software, more like FlatHub Store. Pretty much. KDE comes stock on Arch, but at least KDE looks somewhat decent with stock setup. Yeah, KDE does look decent with its stock setup. I can say that for sure. Stick with Arch Labs. Yeah, I'm running Arch Labs on mine. I like it. I have an idea. Why not Kitty Cam? Use a walking pad. What do you think, Kitty? You want to use a walking pad? Put you on a treadmill? We'll put you on a treadmill, buddy. We'll put a temptation at the end and you can keep on walking the treadmill. Uh-oh. I lost my place again. I lost my place again. Oh, my lands. All right. We're going to give it about 10 minutes. I'm going to feed the kitty, and then I will do comments until 3 o'clock. All right. Let's see. Zenstaller versus Calamari Arch. Yeah, I'll have a look at it. I'll have a look at Zen this week if I can. Because it got missed before on Arco. The Grub Themes window is for the Grub bootloader. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I should have known that. There's a challenge sometimes with doing all this stuff right quick on the spot that you don't necessarily see everything right out of the way, and you kind of miss that. Yes, thank you for that. So waste a lot of goodwill with the Office software move. Yeah. They did. At least, at least though they listened to the community and fixed it. So it was updated Manjaro. You got that Office software of them, and then I shipped, and then I did a pure Arch install. Wow. Yeah, if you want to learn more about the command line stuff, ArcoLinux is really good for all that. Getting Plasma 6 and Cinnamon 5. Honestly, I don't know. I think it'd be called Plasma 6, the name of KDE 5. Wait, Plasma is the name of KDE 5. So yeah, it might be, who knows? Maybe we'll call it COVID 6. How's that? Oh, God. Let's see. Windows was going to switch to a Linux kernel. No, I don't think they were going to switch to a Linux kernel. Take steps back for Plasma 6, removing functions or adding functions which can't be set, which you can't set. Which Arco distro did I install? So I did Arco D with Budgie. D as in dog. The website seems like Plasma is the desktop environment of KDE software suite. Yes, Arco is an Arch installer. Like sudo apt install command on Ubuntu. There you go. Yeah. Just got off another chat. All right. Well, greetings and welcome back. So there's a variety of Arcos designed to teach you in various steps. So it's either difficult or easy. Mostly it's pretty easy though. No one does the budgie desktop environment quite like Solus. Yeah, well, Solus made it. That's like nobody does the Cinnamon desktop like Linux Mint. Well, duh, they're the ones that made it, you know. Does Arco have a GUI kernel or driver installer? Definitely going with Endeavor after watching this. Yeah, if you need it up and running pretty quick, Endeavor's your go-to. Kitty's name. Daughter's asking. This kitty is CJ. The other kitty is TJ. You rarely see the other kitty, except she has been coming around for kitty treats more lately, so we might have a double catter by the end. This cat is CJ. And he says meow. Incredibly affectionate for that race of cat. Yes, he is. He's a crazy mutant cat. He's very odd. He is extremely huggable and extremely cuddleable, and he'll just kind of hang out with you all day. He's almost always in whatever room I'm in. He usually hangs out. Put a GoPro on CJ, see what he does during the day when you're gone. Well, I work at home, so I'm never gone. I'll tell you exactly what he does. Usually he's upside down on the windowsill. Let's see. Zen installer lets you choose the kernel type. Calamar's Arch is easier to install on custom disk partitioning. Yes, Manjaro apparently did finally get updates. Like today, maybe? Can you transfer Steam games to another distro? So Steam runs with a cloud-based server. So you just install Steam on that next distro and just re-download the game over on there. Yeah, scratch under his chin, right, buddy? You like scratch under your chin. This way. This way so people can see your cuteness. Yeah. Not as fat as he looks. Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely not. If you see him wet, like, it's pretty much all fur. He is a giant fur ball. Yeah, there's numerous ways to install Arch. ArchFi is another script that if I need to get a pure Arch installed, sometimes I'll use ArchFi. Hey, I'm at the bottom of the comments. Let's go ahead and feed the kitty. Feed the beast. Feed the beast. Can I have my account pad so you don't drool all over it? Oh boy, kitty. Oh boy, kitty. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh. He's like, I got it. Fishing one out, huh? And one more for you. That's it. Feed the beast. Feed the beast. All right, kitty, you're all fed up. He's like, yep, I got my kitty treats. I'm out of here now. He's such a fair weather friend. He comes around for the kitty treats. Then he's like, yeah, I got my treats. I'm out of here. Right, kitty cat? Right, kitty? Are you going to hang it on the desk for a little bit longer? All right. Transferring games take too long. I mean, it depends on how big of a game it is. Yeah. I guess maybe you couldn't just transfer the Steam files. Honestly, I don't know. I'm not a gamer, so I have very little. ArchFi really did not work for me. Zen never came up. Anarchy got all the way to the end and then had an error. Uh-oh. So I have a fun road ahead of me for that, huh? Arch's release, it frustrates me to no end other than Manjaro. All right. Use Endeavor as my main OS. So far, no problems. Very good. Mother's cat is more furry. Yeah. Yeah, he's over here. He's like, yeah, I'm going to chill. What? You're going to chill on the desk a little bit longer, huh? I have a cat on my desktop. Go figure. All right, well, I think we've hit to the bottom. Daughter says hi to CJ. Well, CJ says meow to your daughter, right? Right, kitty cat? He's like, yeah, I'm a happy cat. All right, installing Arch isn't really that hard. Just that I don't know enough about the configuring the network and stuff and partitioning. Yeah, that's the part. I mean, spend a little bit of time learning it, and that'll work just fine. So, all right. Let's see. Endeavor is a continuation of the ArcoLinux project. Yes. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up here because we've actually gotten down to the bottom, and I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up. That gives me an extra couple more minutes. ArcoLinux is no more. So ArcoLinux project canceled out, and then most of the team went over to EndeavourOS. So you can consider EndeavourOS as kind of a continuation. All right, guys. We will catch you later. Tomorrow's supporters stream. Don't know the topic yet. If you're a supporter, let me know if you have an idea. And then Friday, weekly news roundup. Weekly news roundup. All right, guys. We will catch you guys later. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing